Good morning, students. Honeydew will start this chapter, The Summit Within. It is the personal experience of one Mr. HPS Ahluwalia, who was member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. Expedition is a journey taken by a group for a special purpose. So the first Indian expedition was in 1965 when they climbed Mount Everest. So here Major Ahluwalia is sharing his experience when he climbed Mount Everest in 1965. So what he says is, of all the emotions which surged through me as I stood on the summit of Everest, looking over miles of panorama below us. Panorama is beautiful view. So here he is talking about how he climbed Mount Everest and what are his feelings. So once he climbed Mount Everest, the dominant one I think was humility. Vinamrata. The physical in me seemed to say, thank God it's all over. So when he's climbed Mount Everest, he thinks he's done a great achievement and he says, thank God it's all over. However, instead of being jubilant, instead of being happy, there was a tinge of sadness. Tinge is a shade of sadness. Why was he sad? Was it because I had already done the ultimate in climbing? Why was he sad? Because he had done ultimate, the highest mountain in the world, and there would be nothing higher to climb. And once he climbed the highest mountain, there is nothing else left, and all roads hereafter would lead down. And everything else would be less than Mount Everest. So why he is not very happy? By climbing the summit of Everest, you are overjoyed by a deep sense of joy and thankfulness. It is a joy which lasts a lifetime. See, when you do something extraordinary, you get a happiness, and that happiness stays with you all your life. It is not by eating and sleeping you get happiness. It is when you do something extraordinary. The experience changes you completely. The man who has been to the mountains is never the same again. And the person who has been to the mountains is a person, he is a changed person. He does not remain same. Why? We'll read further. As I look back at life after climbing Everest, I cannot help remarking about the other summit. And now he's talking about the other summit. Summit is the top, peak. And what is that summit? The summit of the mind. Now he's talking about the summit of the mind, which is within ourselves, जो हमारे अंदर है, उसके सर्वश्रेष्ठ, how to reach the top. No less formidable is difficult and no easier to climb. So as it is difficult to climb Mount Everest, similarly it is difficult to climb the summit within ourselves. Turning the next page. Even when in getting down from the summit, once the physical exhaustion is tiredness, had gone, I began asking myself the question why I had climbed Mount Everest. So he starts asking why I had climbed Mount Everest. I'll ask you, why do people climb Mount Everest? Why did the act of reaching the summit have such a hold on my imagination? So he's thinking why I had climbed Mount Everest. It has already a thing in the past, something done yesterday. So he feels that Mount Everest I have done. Ho gaya. Now it is completed. Now what else? With every passing day, it would become more remote. Remote is very distance. Remote is distance, far away. And then what would remain? Would my memories fade slowly away? So what he's trying to say is, once you achieve something grand, something great, it is achieved, and then what else? Then he tried to explain that all these thoughts led me to question myself as to why people climb mountains. So now the big question is and which I have already told you. Because it is human nature to accept challenges. It is not a dog or a cat who will decide to climb Mount Everest. It is human beings, because human beings like challenges. It is not easy to answer the question. The simplest answer would be, as others have said, because it is there, presents great difficulties. Man takes delight in overcoming obstacles. Obstacles is hurdles. So man enjoys achieving extraordinary. This is what it means. The obstacles in climbing mountains are physical. Physical means it requires a lot of strength, a lot of courage. A climb to a mountain means endurance. Endurance is if tolerate what you can tolerate, what you can bear. Persistence is continuing with something, that is called persistence. And willpower, the demonstration is show of these physical qualities, is no doubt exhilarating. Exhilarating is very exciting, and it was for me also. So he's saying why people climb mountains, because it offers you a lot of challenges, and that is why he also took this challenge of climbing Mount Everest. I have a more personal answer to the question, but now he's saying why he climbed. So he feels this: from my childhood I have been attracted by mountains, because he was from very early childhood. Bachpan se he was attracted to mountains. I had been miserable. Miserable is sad, lost when away from mountains in the plains. So when Major Ahluwalia is in plains, he feels sad and lost. Mountains are nature at its best, and he feels that mountains are nature's best at its best. Their beauty and majesty pose a great challenge. And like many, I believe that mountains are a means of communion with God. Communion is communicate, to talk with God. And that is why, as you would know, that most of the temples, like in Himalayas, the Kedarnath, the Badrinath, they are at the top of the mountains, because human beings feel that they can communicate or talk with God or communicate with God when they are at the top of the mountains. So this is the first part of the story. We'll continue with the second